If you want to play at 4K resolution with the highest FPS possible, this video is going to be for you. Now, the first 3 PCs that I'm going to mention, you can use them as well for 1440p. However, the other ones are for 4K gaming, and I wouldn't recommend them for 1440p since you will be wasting your money because it's an overkill. We will go over from $1,800 all the way up to $5,000, so if your budget is between those ranges, then one of these Prebuilt PCs is going to be for you. You will have the links to all of these systems down below in the video description. That being said, let's start. With the first one and the cheapest one, which is still expensive but is the cheapest one on the list, we have this Skytech Chronos 2. Here you get the i5 12600K for the CPU, and then you get the RTX 3080 for the GPU. You also get 16 gigs of DDR4 memory alongside a 1TB SSD and an 850W 80+ gold power supply. Now, to be honest, this system is great for 4K gaming, but you can also use it for really high FPS at 1440p. The RTX 3080 is a great GPU for both resolutions, and I would say is the entry point to 4K gaming. Yes, you can get away with a 3070 Ti or even a 3070 for 4K, but a 3080 is going to be more comfortable with most games. Now, if you don't know anything about components, this system will be able to run games at 4K 60+ FPS on average for most titles, but of course it's going to depend on the settings. For example, Flight Simulator, 4K resolution, medium to high settings, you will be able to achieve anywhere between 40 to 50 FPS, which is really good for that type of game. And if we talk about esports titles such as Valorant and CSGO, you will be able to run these 4K highest settings at more than 240 FPS, which is really high for competitive. You also get that front mesh panel with 3 fans on the front, and you get 1 exhaust fan, so airflow is not going to be an issue for the system or any of the gaming PCs that I'm going to mention. With the next one we have the Omen 45L. This one has the i7 12700K instead of the 12600K, so you get a better CPU. This will be useful especially if you're a content creator. And then you get the same RTX 3080. You get 16 gigs of RAM, 1TB of hard drive and 500 gigs of SSD, so you also get more storage. Now, I tested this PC myself, and you can go ahead and watch my review about it with benchmarks for 1440p in the top right of the screen. But just like with the last one, this is an awesome 4K gaming. The main difference here is going to be the CPU, and then I can guarantee that this PC is going to be great for you because I've tested it myself. The price is $2,400, so yes, it's more expensive, but you are getting a beast of a system. So just like with the last one, you can also use it for high FPS 1440p or 4K gaming. And if you're a content creator, the CPU difference is going to be huge. I would recommend you upgrading the RAM to 32 gigs of RAM if you want to have even a better experience. Now, the next one is from Amazon, and we are talking about the Cobra Type Warrior desktop. This one comes with the i7 13700KF, which is better than the i7 12700K, and then you get the RTX 4070 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM and 2TB of SSD, so plenty of storage, a much better GPU. I'm currently using the RTX 4070 Ti on my PC build with the i5 13600K, and let me tell you, there's no game that you can't run at 1440p, ultra settings, high FPS. I've tested this GPU myself. I have a video with benchmarks, but it's also really capable of 4K resolution. It has a really similar performance to the RTX 3090, which was considered the best 4K GPU at the time. You also get a 360 all-in-one liquid cooler, which is not completely necessary for the i7. I think you can get away with a 280. However, it's a nice to have, and you get great airflow as well with that front mesh panel. So overall, for 4K resolution or high FPS 1440p, this is one of the best PCs you can get at the moment. You also get DDR5 memory, 32 gigs of RAM, so for content creators, this one is great as well. However, you get the 13700KF, which doesn't have integrated graphics, and if you're creating content, this is something that you may want, especially with video editing softwares. With the next one, we have an upgrade for gaming, and now we are talking about only 4K gaming, not 1440p anymore. We are talking about the Skytech Eclipse. This one has the i5 13600K and the RTX 4080. The 4080 is better than the 4070 Ti, and like I said, if you use it for 1440p, you will be wasting your money, since there's literally no reason to go with a 4080 if you're just going to do 1440p gaming. You get 1TB of Gen 4 SSD, 1000W 80+ gold power supply, 32 gigs of RAM of DDR5 memory, and then you get a 360 liquid cooler, which is not necessary once again, especially for the i5 13600K, but like I said before, it's nice to have in case you want to upgrade the CPU in the future to, let's say, the i9 13900K. Both the power supply and the CPU cooler will allow that. So this is almost the best PC out there for gaming, and I say almost because there's a GPU that is actually better than the RTX 4080, but that is going to be way more expensive. This PC is $2,800, which is expensive already, but hey, if you want the best of the best and you're willing to spend more money, then the next three are going to be for you. The next one is another Eclipse, but this time it has the Ryzen 9 7900X and the RTX 4090. This is one of the best PCs that you can get right now for both content creation and gaming. We are talking about 4K, the highest FPS possible. There's literally nothing you can do with this system for the price of $3,400. And even if you have more money, with the newest 45L, with the i9 13900K, the best processor for content creators and productivity work, and then the RTX 4090, the best GPU available, just like with the last one. The only thing here is that it comes with 16 gigs of RAM, which is not usual for this price, so I do recommend you upgrading the RAM. It's not going to cost you a lot, don't worry. And then you get more storage in 1TB of hard drive and 1TB of SSD. The price is $4,000, so really expensive, but trust me when I say you will get the best experience out there. And one thing to mention is that you will not be charged until the product is shipped. And by the way, it has a shipping time of 1 day. So if you add more RAM, this is the one that I would recommend you the most if you want to spend $4,000, and I think that's enough for a gaming PC. However, if you are rich or you just want the really best of the best, then you can get the same 45L from Amazon. The main difference here, you get 64 gigs of DDR5 memory, 2 TB of SSD, 6 TB of hard drive, which is not necessary at all, but this is the most complete system out there in my opinion. If you're working as a video editor, as a professional, then this makes sense because you get 64 gigs of RAM and you get plenty of storage. However, for most people this will be an overkill. Even if you're trying to spend $5,000, I think you should be saving your money and not going with something like this. But of course, it's your budget, your money. So if you have $5,000 in your bank account and you don't mind spending them on a gaming PC, I think this one would be the best choice. However, if you care about the price performance, PC builds are actually the better choice than Prebuilt PCs. On the most part, of course, because there are points to consider such as the warranty or the fact that you're not spending your time to build the system. But if you're trying to get a good price to performance high-end PC build, I recommend you watching my video about the $2,000 all-around RTX 4070 Ti gaming PC build in 2023 with 1440p benchmarks. You are spending $2,000 and you are getting a better performance than the one that's $2,500 on the Prebuilt PCs. So that's something to consider, and you will have that video in the top right of the screen. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.